Hey guys, welcome to the 716 Sports Entertainment Podcast, where today we are going to take a look back through the year that was 2025, and we are going to break down for you guys our top 10 matches across WWE, NXT, and as well as an honorable mention. We kind of labored long and hard on this list, but we came to an agreement between the two of us of what we felt were the best matches of the year, the ones we recommend you guys go back and watch. And we'd really love to know what you guys think down in the comments down below. If you agree with our list, if you disagree with our list, if you think there's anything we missed, we would really love to hear it. So, with that, as always, I am Mike, joined by Mr. Sean O'Neill. And Sean, it was a wild year for wrestling. There was some good. There was certainly a lot of bad. I think back to the WrestleMania main event between John Cena and Cody Rhodes, which was not less than ideal. But yeah, how do you overall feel about the year that was?
So, as far as wrestling goes, and talking the WWE product in particular, in the year of our Lord Vince McMahon 2025, it definitely was a mixed bag. I wouldn't quite say a roller coaster because I think there were a few more downs than ups overall, but it did have some really high highs and a few really low lows. Speaking of that, I think we should do a equal video to this of the worst matches of 2025. And you mentioned, for instance, the not quite ideal main event of night two of WrestleMania between Cena and Cody. And that at least has the excuse of outside interference messing up the match. But we definitely were able to put the labor in, find some fantastic matches, and I think we could do the same if we do it looking the opposite way too.
Yeah, I agree. So let's talk about our honorable mention or our 11th place match, if you will, the match that didn't quite make it, and we'll give kind of break down and kind of give our reason for this as well. So the honorable mention goes to the SummerSlam night one main event between CM Punk and Gunther, and the reason that this didn't make the list was because the match itself wasn't anything spectacular. I mean, it was a pretty atypical Gunther match. I mean, Gunther puts on a lot of great matches. I don't actually believe we have any of his matches on this list in its entirety. But Gunther is a pretty safe, reliable wrestler. But the match itself with Punk was not anything absolutely spectacular. However, the reason that this makes an honorable mention was because of the cash in after the fact from Seth Rollins, where everybody thought, or some people thought, or it was reported that he was injured and it wasn't injured. And there was that iconic shot of him dropping the two crutches after he made his way to the top of the ramp, which was absolutely awesome. And he came down and cashed in to win the World Heavyweight title. So that was more, I think, for the moment than it was for the actual wrestling. And there were a couple of the matches that you'll see on our list here that the moment helped a little bit, I think, to elevate the match overall. But yeah, that was our honorable mention. What are your thoughts on that SummerSlam night one main event?
So you're right. This was a case of the moment overshadowing the actual match. I mean, if we look back at Gunther, a large number of his matches no doubt could fit into a top 10 list. However, this year, a lot of his matches have been taken up with like special event style matches, like the Goldberg match or the Cena match. And I think the fact that he puts on such consistently good matches is what made it hard to like place his work into a specific spot. Honestly, that's probably why I didn't pick him for any of my choices as far as like actual Gunther matches.
Yeah, no, that's completely fair. And I
I,
think yeah, I mean I was totally blown away by the cash in, and like it was like I still look back fondly on that, and I thought it was a really cool moment. So with
I
that, let's go
hold on. I gotta say I wasn't blown away though because I'm pretty sure I predicted it.
ahead. Yep, but you're still 6 points behind me.
Hey, can't win them
I
all.
think I actually think it's five, but that's okay. So that takes us to our number 10 on the list, which was from NXT Stand and Deliver. I believe it was the main event between Trick Williams, Javon Evans, and Oba Femi. This match was awesome. It was so good. These guys demonstrated why they're the future of the company, right? Like all three of these guys are young. All three of these guys are going to be in the main event scene on the main roster sooner rather than later. Oba just looked like $1 million, and he's really kind of continued his dominance, throughout the year. His match with Cody comes to mind recently as well, although that kind of had a dumb sort of finish. But Oba really looks like $1 million, and he could certainly be the quote next big thing as far as I'm concerned. And I mean, Javon Evans, what is he, 23 years old? He's phenomenal too, and they've been showcasing him a lot on the main roster. And then the same thing with Trick. Like I didn't love the way they ended Trick's title run overall and then kind of moved him to TNA for a little while, and that kind of got a little bit weird. But I think overall, when you put three talents into the ring of this caliber, especially in NXT, which, we've said on this channel is just probably the best weekly television wrestling show. Um, I mean, it's just going to be all aces in my book.
So for this particular match, I'm only going to talk about Trick. I think that the way, if you look at Trick Williams and his career in NXT, I don't think anybody would have guessed that the man who started out as the stooge for Carmelo Hayes would have been in the place that he is. And you're right. I don't like the way that he lost the title when he had it because it was when like through interference or something, and he never really got his hand back on the actual NXT title. I would have liked to see him actually run with it for a little while, longer than like the month he had it, I think. But he consistently puts on good matches. He is able to play both a really good heel and face role with the things he was doing with antagonizing TNA and all that. Fantastic after this match. And as much as I say that I wanted to see him with the belt, I think watching him chase the belt was pretty entertaining too.
Yeah, I completely agree with everything you said. Trick is going to be a huge star. I think he's gonna progress over to the main roster much smoother than Carmelo did. I think,
Yeah.
and I think that they'll probably do a better job with him. Carmelo is a great wrestler, but I feel like he doesn't quite have the look that WWE wants, whereas I think Trick does. Trick is a little bit bigger, he's a little bit more built. He's definitely way better on the microphone now than he was when Mello was still in NXT. So I agree with almost all your sentiments on Trick. I like him a lot. I think he's going to go places.
Mello has the superstar look, but not like the build look that Trick has. Like
Yeah.
because of Trick's size, whereas Mello just looks like a super like a star. Trick actually has like the size and everything to back it up too. And I'll talk about Oba and Javon here in a sec after we go a little bit further.
Yeah, which takes us to I actually decided to move these because I didn't want to do two NXT matches in
Okay.
a row. So our number nine is actually going to be the main event of night two of SummerSlam, which was between Cody Rhodes and John Cena, the street fight for the WWE Championship. This match was substantially better than their first one. And I think this was helped a lot by Cena actually being a face in this match and the crowd actually being able to cheer him and not really the crowd having to like kind of have to boo Cody here, but also Cody finally like doing what he needed to do. And I think if and when I know so many people are saying that Cody is eventually going to turn heel, I don't know if that's ever actually going to happen. But if and when it does, people are going to point back to this moment, I think, of when it actually started because, Cody did what he needed to do here. Wasn't able to pull the trigger at WrestleMania because of, Rock the Dwayne's ego and Travis Scott and all the other nonsense that happened at WrestleMania. But this is when John Cena really started to turn it around, and I just wish that they would have just kept him a face for the entire time. But I don't want to pony this down here by talking about the John Cena run. We'll do that another time.
So this match was greatly helped by the SmackDown two nights before when Cena came out and directly addressed the crowd with what went wrong and with his whole heel run. And the fact that he basically on live TV blasted The Rock and Travis Scott. And that allowed them to go into this main event on the first ever two-night SummerSlam with presenting the Cena that people actually wanted to see. And mind you, his original match at WrestleMania was terrible, like we talked about. But through each match coming up to SummerSlam, you could see Cena's in-ring work getting better and better. And I think this street fight at SummerSlam was the first point where he actually looked more like the John Cena of old. Like he wasn't getting gassed in the ring. He busted out all the moves. He had the crowd cheering him and not being forced, like you said, into having to boo when they didn't want to. You know what I mean? And
Exactly.
as far as Cody goes, you're 100% right. This, if you look back at Cody Rhodes throughout this past year, I honestly thought they were going to do a double turn at this SummerSlam because it would have been the perfect time to do a double turn. But this is where you'll see that Cody started to lean into the I'm willing to do whatever it takes to either win back my title or retain the title because I'm the quarterback. And yes, it requires him being a little bit more devious than the Cody Rhodes that we've seen for a while, but I think it helps him overall as a character and as a champion now. And after winning the match, like it was an equal amount of boos and cheers as you would expect because it was a John Cena thing. But I think this definitely righted the path that Cena's retirement tour was on.
Yeah. And I mean, and Cody's a good worker too, and we actually don't have him on this list anymore at all. We toiled a little bit with the Royal Rumble match with him and Kevin Owens, but nothing else from Cody. I mean, this was a bit of a down year for Cody as far as as far as his matches go. I mean, a lot of his feuds just kind of seemed to drag on too long. His one with Drew McIntyre is still going on, and it's not the best. His match with Gunther at Crown Jewel was okay, wasn't spectacular. His match with Randy Orton as well for the finals of the King of the Ring was also pretty good, but it wasn't spectacular, So yeah, it's interesting though. But that does take us to our number 8, which I know you wanted to talk about, which was from NXT Heatwave. For the NXT Championship between Opa Femi and Javon Evans, another return for both of these guys on this list, and I'll let you get into this one because I know you wanted to talk about it a little bit more.
So knowing this was on the list is why I wanted to wait on talking about Oba and Javon. And those two men are the future of the business in WWE. Oba Femi as champion is not only incredibly believable as like an insurmountable object, but the way that he backs it up and acts like, even though he's only been in WWE for like 2 years or something now, he acts like he's been there forever. The guy, that match with Cody on Cena's retirement show, other than the trash ending, showed that he is ready for a main roster run if they're willing to pull the trigger. And honestly, I'm kind of surprised that they haven't yet. I'm hoping that come Royal Rumble, we'll see Obafemi up on the roster. And he hits hard. He is great on the mic. And I love everything they do about it with him as a big man champion down in NXT. And Javon Evans, I don't know any better way to praise him other than incredible. The guy's ring work is like off the charts. The moves he does, the fact how smooth he is, the fact that he can turn what looks like a crazy mistake into some sort of insane like dive move. The His promo work is infectious. He's always so like upbeat and like excited to be there, and he makes it. He almost makes me as excited as him to watch him in the ring as it looks like he is to be in the ring. And he's another one that I can see being a world champion sooner rather than later. And I am glad that WWE has done the right thing with a lot of these younger guys. And we're finally starting to see a WWE that's treating, I don't want this to be a social justice thing, but you haven't really seen a ton of black champions in WWE. And I think that this is going to show that WWE has a bright future.
Yeah, I completely agree with everything you said. And the only thing I want to add is that the Obafemi strut. Oh, that is so good. I love the Obafemi, just the strut. Oh, it's the best. Absolutely the best. So that takes us to our number 7 on the list, which is from Money in the Bank 2025, which was the men's Money in the Bank ladder match, where Seth Rollins captured the briefcase to defeat LA Knight, Penta, El Grande Americano, Andrade, and Solo Sikoa. This match had a ton of stuff in it, a lot of big spots where at any point in time you really weren't sure who was going to win this match. There were a couple people you were like, probably not, but everybody was really, really high on LA Knight winning this match. I mean, there were a couple of spots where he almost won this match, and everybody was really all about LA Knight winning this match. Similarly, you had the turn by Jacob Fatu on Solo Sikoa in this match. So a lot to talk about with this match. You had, all the stuff going on between Penta and El Grande Americano and Andrade, who obviously got released. But I mean, the action, the high flying, all the spots in this match were just absolutely phenomenal.
The only mistake about this match was actually in the lead up to it by not having Penta, or not Penta, by not having Phoenix make it into this match, because I feel like having a joke character like El Grande was a missed opportunity there. Even though WWE was very high on the is El Grande Chad Gable thing that was going on at the time. But the match overall, you're right. Everybody wanted LA Knight to win. I mean, he'd been in what the last 4 or 5 Money at the Banks and just couldn't get the job done. It almost had kind of a feeling of like, is this it for LA Knight if he doesn't win here?
Mm-hmm.
And it's that still is kind of up in the air. I do think Seth winning was the right choice overall, but I think that the match itself, I mean, Money at the Bank is honestly my favorite PLE. I love the idea of the match. I have always loved that the winner gets to call their title shot. I think that they could make a few changes to update it. Like let you call your title shot for whatever you wanted. Think would be
Yeah.
fun, like how TNA does it. But you watch these guys do like Mexican destroyers onto ladders, and they literally put their bodies on the line in this match just to have that opportunity. And I think they did a great job with it this year, even with having Andrade and El Grande in there.
Yeah, I completely agree. So that takes us to our number 6, which was the SmackDown TLC match that took place before WrestleMania on April the 25th between the Street Profits, DIY, and the Motor City Machine Guns. This match was insane. This match should have been on WrestleMania in place of the match with the New Day and I believe the Viking War Experience. Um, because it was awesome. It was like everything you want out of this, all the praise we just gave the last match about being just a ladder match for titles. This match just did the same thing, and it was absolutely awesome. And this is the kind of thing we've been talking about on this channel forever. You've got so many good tag teams on SmackDown. Have them wrestle all the damn time because it's great. And this was the example of why it was so awesome. And these teams left it all out there.
So WWE has a habit of having a match, it seems like every year, the night before WrestleMania, that should have been on the PLE. And you're right. If I'm going to take a match off of WrestleMania night one, it's going to be the New Day versus the artists formerly known as the Viking Experience. And this match, I mean, anything involving ladders is must see for me. Like, these guys are willing to take years off their careers to entertain us. And it always makes me laugh when people refer to wrestling as fake because show them a match like this.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, yes, it's scripted, but these guys are out there diving headfirst off ladders, hitting spears from a ladder through a table, hitting each other with chairs. Like this, and the opportunity to show off not just two of your big homegrown teams with, or one really with the Street Profits and the DIY who was together on the Indies as well. But at this point, you would also brought in the Motor City Machine Guns, one of the most decorated tag teams in the industry. And I really don't understand WWE not wanting to showcase that on the biggest stage of all time at the Showcase of the Immortals, because this was the perfect way to showcase one of the best aspects of SmackDown and one of the best tag team divisions in all of wrestling.
Completely agree. Well, you bit the nail on the head there. This takes us to the number 5 match on our list, which was the unsanctioned match between Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn from Elimination Chamber way, way, way back in February. This match was brutal. Just these guys killed each other during this match. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't Sammy take a bunch of time off after this match? And Kevin Owens was also it was also revealed shortly after this as well that his neck injury came. I think his neck actual injury has been something that's been coming on for a while, but this was pretty much the last we saw of both of these guys for a while. After, I mean, Kevin Owens is still gone to this day, but we didn't see Sammy do anything for months after this.
Nope. This was Owen's last match that we've seen of him. And I think one of the things that really added some gravitas to this match too, used my Michael Cole word of the day there, was the fact that it was actually in Canada as well. And technically both of these guys were kind of performing before their home crowd since they're both Canadian. I think they're both actually from Quebec, aren't they? But
Yeah.
they you could feel the fact that these guys know each other so well that I mean they've been competing each other against each other for God 20 something years, that you could feel the animosity between them even though they're best friends in real life. They were able to translate that into such a believable like hatred as they threw everything they could at each other, and it made it feel more real, if that makes sense. I know it kind of sounds kind of dumb saying that about a scripted show, but it I don't know. I don't know that I've seen an unsanctioned match in a long time where the stakes felt quite as personal as they did here.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, I actually want to go back and watch this. Like, of all of the matches on our list, this is like one of the ones I actually want to go back and watch. I mean, there were some other good ones as well. And some of the ones we're going to talk about in a minute here were very, very good. But like, of all of the matches, as far as just the sheer brutality, I mean, I don't think anything on our list tops this match. So,
The Yeah, no, the only one close to this would have been the Cody Owens match.
yeah, yeah. So this takes us to our number 4, which we had a hard time with 4 and 3 kind of placing where we were going to, but I think just because of the shock we're going to talk about a number the ending sequence of number 3, I think that's going to slightly edge out 4, but 4 was amazing, and that was the WrestleMania 41 match between Bianca Belair, Iyo Sky, and Rhea Ripley, where this match did have a shocking ending as well, where Iyo did retain, and the entire build up to this was everybody treating Iyo like she was a third wheel, even though she was the champion.
Yep.
And this match just blew the doors off of everything. This match was awesome. It was one of the best matches of the weekend. And I mean, this is what you want in wrestling. This is what you want out of a WrestleMania match. This is what you want. You got your 3 biggest stars in the division going at it, hitting all their best moves. The crowd loved this match. This match received like critical acclaim from everybody. I don't know a single person who's watched this match and has been like, yeah, the women can do exactly what the men can do. And, if not better. And part of, I think, part of having this match here and having it do so well is what led to, other PLEs and other women's matches being such a success.
So I am not a Bianca Belair fan, and it's because I don't like her character work. But that being said, this match kind of won me over because she did in the lead up to the match itself with everything and them treating Iyo like she wasn't really even a factor in this as champion. I mean, the shock of Iyo actually winning the title off Rhea, which nobody expected, and the lead up to this where Bianca won the Rumble, I think that all three of these women brought something different to the ring. And keep in mind, too, this was actually the last time we saw Bianca Belair as well, because this
Hmm.
is what she suffered that devastating finger injury. And yeah, that sounds funny to say, but she has been out of wrestling since WrestleMania. And not seeing her has definitely made you realize how much you miss her. If I'm saying that right, like she
Hmm.
brings so much. Like my complaint about Bianca Belair is that she doesn't really sell very well, but the rest of what she does, her move set, her promo work, and everything, it brings a certain level of skill on her end that with her and Rhea working together really helped sell this match too, considering that Iyo isn't the best at promo work. I think that the styles of all these women is what made it as great as it did.
Yeah, and I mean, I agree with you. My feelings on Bianca are similar. I think her selling is not the best, but at the same time, the Jade's entire run right now and everything that Jade has been doing since Bianca has been gone is suffering because
Yep.
Bianca's not there. Like 100%. Jade is really, really struggling because Bianca's not there. Because I think that program was supposed to happen a while ago. And the fact that it didn't is, I think, really just a complete detriment to Jade.
Yep.
So, which takes us to our number three, which was the WrestleMania Night One main event between Seth Rollins, CM Punk, and Roman Reigns, which was incredible. This felt like a big money match. And you had all of your big top guys in this match. And obviously, we'll talk about the turn in a second. But I mean, the entrances were incredible. You had CM Punk with that awesome video that they played beforehand of the lead up to his, getting the main event, which, that in itself was a big deal. CM Punk finally getting his first WrestleMania main event, Roman Reigns and just everything Roman Reigns brings to the table because Roman Reigns is such a big star. And then, of course, with Seth as well and the turn, which nobody saw coming, you know. And I think that was just the icing on the cake to what was an absolutely fantastic night one main event to WrestleMania, which honestly, with the way the second night ended, this should have closed the entire show.
If you have Roman Reigns' name attached to the main event of something, you know you're going to have something special because Reigns, the second you hear his boss music hit, it brings something bigger. You know what I mean? Like, you know that since he's such a special attraction, that you're going to be getting something that's worth the wait. And when you add to the fact of that you have CM Punk finally, even after all these years and finally returning to WWE, getting that main event that he's always wanted. And the fact that they played that into the storyline leading up to this. And then Seth Rollins, and the fact that they tied Seth Rollins' real life hatred of CM Punk into all this storyline and everything leading up to this match about how Seth was trying to stop Punk from getting his main event and stop Punk from being treated the way he was. And then of course everything with Paul Heyman. When you have Paul Heyman's greasy little hands in everything, it you never know what you're going to get. And I'm pretty sure that when we did our predictions video, at least I know I did, you may have too, projected Seth to win just because everybody was overthinking it. It was still a shock to see him win in the way he did because you never would have expected Heyman to turn on not only the tribal chief, but on his best friend outside of Brock Lesnar. And
Yeah,
the second he hit that nut shot on Punk was just like it was jaw dropping.
yeah. I was blown away. I was blown away. Like, yeah, Seth Rollins is a moment maker. And I mean, this was awesome. This was just absolutely awesome.
I mean, other than being a Bears fan, Seth Rollins is definitely a. I think out of everybody in the Shield, and we know obviously Roman is treated like the biggest star, but I think without Seth Rollins, there's a lot you don't get in WWE.
Yeah, I completely agree. This takes us to our number two match, and this one and the number one were close. We definitely we talked about these two a bunch, but I wanted to place this one at number two, not so much because of the stakes of the match, because there were no stakes to this match at all. And I think that was the one thing that hurt this match, if you even want to say that, that there were no stakes to it hardly at all because of the way it was announced. And that is the match between John Cena and AJ Styles at Crown Jewel, which comes in at our number two spot. Now, this match was special because this match, I think the best way to describe this match was a love letter to the fans of professional wrestling
Yep.
because of not only the entrances, but the introduction that John Cena wrote to give the ring announcer to, to mention, to talk about AJ Styles and to hype him up, mentioning that he was the leader of the Bullet Club, the face that runs the place, everything they used to call him, in his run, the TNA champion and everything else like that. But then, the match itself took a little while to get going, but once it got going, it was just, like I said, a love letter to professional wrestling where they were spamming finishers from every single one of your favorites, including some who aren't even in WWE anymore. With the passing of Bray Wyatt, Sister Abigail being hit, a Walls of Jericho being put in place. The Styles clash, the Cena attempting to go for an RKO, and all the different finishers that the both of them tried to hit. It was just awesome, and I was cheering. I was so happy watching this match. I was smiling from ear to ear watching this match, and I knew Cena was going to win. Everybody knew Cena was going to win, but I mean, this match was just so much fun. I was so happy watching this match, and I just this match was why I love professional wrestling.
It was kind of tough to follow up on that. Um, so growing up watching wrestling back in the day, stopping watching again, and then starting again in like 2010 when John Cena was everywhere. Who would have thought that in 2025 you would get John Cena on his retirement tour facing off against AJ Styles? I know I never would have thought of it. I mean, the fact that AJ Styles even came to WWE was incredible to me at the time when he showed up at the Royal Rumble. And these two guys are two of the best workers and the faces of two companies. And like when Styles came in, he had his matches with Cena, and though that whole run was fantastic. And so we had Cena's retirement tour after SummerSlam when he lost the title. They had whatever that debacle was with Brock Lesnar. Then they randomly announced this match, and it's like, why? I think that was our actual reaction was what is the point of this? Like we're not going to actually get like something that makes sense here, like another Lesnar match to make up for that. And I will say that I've never been happier outside of when we got AJ Styles versus Finn Balor to have a randomly thrown together match because, like you said, they did everything in this match to remind you about what pro wrestling is about. Not sports entertainment, but pro wrestling. The move steals, the finishers, the introductions, and John Cena standing tall and shaking hands with Styles. And it was just everything about it. Like you said, it reminded you what pro wrestling was meant to be.
I'm going to slightly disagree with that. I'm gonna say every spot where you said pro wrestling, I would say sports entertainment. Because, and the reason I do that is because this match was sports entertainment. Yes, I'll give you your points about it being in the ring, but this match was sports entertainment through and through. I mean, there were zero stakes to this match, zero. And it was all about the entertainment factor of this match. I
Well,
mean, you would never get a match like this, I don't think, in AEW
you would,
ever. This
but
match was sports entertainment through and through.
something that I hate is that you count pro wrestling and sports entertainment as two different things. Pro wrestling is supposed to be entertainment. And when I talk pro wrestling, I obviously mean like WWE and that kind of thing, not like actual wrestling. It's meant to be sports entertainment as what pro wrestling is. So you're right. I encompass it all as one thing.
Which takes us to our number one, which, in my opinion, was the best match of the year. And it also had an incredible moment at the end that we talked about the Seth cash in as our our honorary mention there, and some of the other kind of the Paul Heyman turn and all of these things that there were whispers of this happening, but the ending of this match as well, I don't think as personal life saw that saw this coming because everybody thought it was going to go the other way. But on top of that, the in-ring work between these two superstars, just absolutely phenomenal. And this is the Evolution 2025 Women's World Championship match between Rhea Ripley and Iyo Sky, which saw Naomi come in at the end and complete that incredible cash in that not a person alive knew was going to happen. But you've got these two women absolutely tearing the house down. Iyo Sky showed why she is one of the best workers in the world. And Rhea Ripley, with just all of her star power, all of the bumps that these two women, I mean, they were incredible. All the stuff that they did outside of the ring, where Iyo dumped Rhea off of the kind of like the entranceway to like the arena onto a table, like through a table, and all the near finishes in this match, and the fact the storyline of this match as well, where Rhea cannot beat Iyo one on one, just can't. It still hasn't, and they were really playing into that, and it was just one of the best uses of subtle storytelling that WWE did all year. And the Naomi cash in was just the icing on the cake. It was absolutely perfect. I was blown away when Naomi came in and cashed in because we were taught for months leading up to this. She did have she had the briefcase, and everybody thought it was going to be on Tiffany and Jade because that was kind of like where they were all going with it because Tiffany was in her forever feud with Jade at that point, and we just kind of thought that that's where it's going to go, right? Because Naomi had the thing with Jade. It was just like a foregone conclusion that she was going to cash in on Jade. And it just went the complete different direction there. And we were really of the mind that, man, they're really shitting the bed with Naomi's heel turn because she did such a good job with the heel turn. And they just kept having her lose, kept having her lose. And it was awesome after they did this. So can't say enough good things about it. My opinion, best match of the year.
So the 2025 iteration of WWE Evolution didn't quite live up to the standard set by the original Evolution. However, this particular main event of Rhea and Iyo, especially with the storyline of how good both of them were, yet Rhea could not beat Iyo. And that storyline alone brought such a interesting dynamic to the match itself, considering how good Rhea is. So there was zero inkling of any sort of shenanigans going on to impact this match. And when you look at the fact that Naomi with her heel turn, never, or at least not in a long time, has there been such a needed heel turn as there was with Naomi, because her character was probably the most stale in all of WWE. And you're right. After the heel turn, they completely bombed it by having her lose to Jade every time. She needed a win there to keep her story going. And we thought she was ruined. But WWE putting the briefcase on her was probably the smartest thing that they've done in a while for the briefcase, especially when you consider the absolute shock value of her running out and winning this, what turned into a triple threat. Nobody saw it coming, and it opened up so many different opportunities for storytelling on Raw by her coming over there that it's too bad, mind you, too bad in the sense that it we didn't get to fully see it all play out due to Naomi having to take time away. Congrats to her on that part of it, but it was too bad that we didn't get to see what the storyline was going to be.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And yeah, I mean, just kudos to all three of these women. This match just blew the roof off of the entire shit. And then and you're right, the Evolution show leading up to this was not anything spectacular. It was okay. I mean, I go back to the original Evolution show, and I don't know if I agree with everything you said about that because the main events for that, I believe, were Alexa Bliss and Nia Jax and Becky Lynch and Ronda Rousey,
I
which
just think it was better overall.
fair, that's fair. There were better. It had a better presentation. I will
Yeah,
give you that. But yeah, I just remember Becky Lynch and Ronda Rousey being a terrible,
well,
terrible
of course it
match.
was. It was Ronda Rousey.
Yeah. So, but yeah. So with that, that is our list, guys. Let us know what you guys think in the comments down below. Did we nail it? Do you think that our list is stupid? Would you have placed these matches in other places? Did we forget something? I mean, there were some matches we did leave off of the list because they just, we didn't think that they were as good as some of the other ones. But if there's something that sticks out to you guys, let us know in the comments down below. We do read and respond to all of them, and we really appreciate it. So with that, have yourselves a fantastic evening and take care.